Come, let us explore if it is normal to cry as we meditate. This evening's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. It begins crying while meditating. This is my first time meditating since 2021. And I was going through a pretty hard time then. And I was going through a pretty hard time then. So I always figured it was because of that. Well, I've been wanting to increase my dream recall abilities. So I decided to start meditating again and found myself crying again. Does anyone else experience this? I don't think it has ever happened to me. So, is it normal to cry while meditating? That depends on how you meditate. If so, let's jump forward and find a nice diagram. When we read the 81 poems of the Tao Te Ching, we get a feeling for yang and yin. And we can go through life on the path of yin, being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Or like the majority of folks, we can be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. When rigidity and controlling tendencies guide our practice of so-called meditation, we can find ourselves actively concentrating or actively analyzing. The only way to do that is to rely upon such mechanisms as our medial prefrontal cortex or our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Now, this prefrontal cortex is a lovely tool. If you want to compare, contrast, analyze, calculate, edit, or the like, it's your pal. But it can be overused. And when it is overused, it begins to activate this thing here. This thing that kind of looks like a really large almond. This is our amygdala, the seat of aggression and anxiety. So, when our meditation consists of active concentration or active analysis, there's not going to be a lot of weeping. There's not, because that requires a lot of flexibility. That won't happen when you're angry and anxious. That's when you get more rigid and more uptight. I'd like to tell you a tale. Gather round, children. Let me tell you a tale of the previous century, way back in the 1990s when the crust of the earth was still cooling. Yes, we had great big clunky heavy personal computers back then, and sometimes they would slow down. The go-to remedy was to rummage around through some of the utility programs bundled with Windows, and click the built-in defragmentation program. When it was done doing its deal, the computer would work faster. Similarly, when we rely upon certain mechanisms in our brain, when we rely upon the sympathetic nervous system located in the middle third of our spinal cord, and we rely upon it to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, to perceive our emotions, intentions, reasonings, recollections, imaginings, in addition to our sight, sound, sensations, flavors, and scents. That's a bird of a different feather. Similarly, during our exhalation, when we rely upon our parasympathetic nervous system located in the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord to physically relax and mentally release, that can be the organic version of defragmenting. Because we are perceiving in a very flexible, laid-back way, our brain has the opportunity to reshuffle the deck, or more accurately, to reorganize the deck. We can find ourselves recalling memories long forgotten. We can find ourselves exploring, sampling fantasies heretofore unexplored. We could find ourselves weeping, or laughing, or raging. This can be healing. This can be very healing. What do we do with the emotions that come up in meditation? We persist in perceiving them and releasing them in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. If this becomes unbearable, I recommend brisk walking meditation as you walk around your block for 20 or 40 or 60 minutes. During the inhalation, you can silently and mentally recite perceiving. During the exhalation, you can silently and mentally recite releasing. These are not affirmations, for we're not trying to convince ourselves of something that isn't true. Au contraire, we are labeling mechanisms that are already going on, thus aligning our brain with our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system for enhanced efficacy. What is the key to optimizing our mindfulness? The silent mental and passive recitation of the demonstrative pronoun this during our each inhalation. What is the key to optimizing meditation? Again, this silent mental and passive recitation of the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. I think it could be fun if together as a team we practice together. So let's do so after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each meditation school or each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. I think tonight it could be fun if we played with the latest iteration of love, mindfulness, meditation, and the 3 marks of reality. That kind of sounds like a rock band from the 60s, doesn't it? One moment before I do that, this is something I need to copy real quick. Fabulous. Let's set intention by chanting love and let love and releases. Oops, where's the cursor? Let's set intention by chanting love and releases wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. May all circumstances of all beings appearing yet impermanent be as safe and abundant as a real or imagined Buddha's land. So this is not a prayer. We're simply using words to guide our intention, that we might strengthen the neural pathways responsible for universal love. Let's continue. May all minds of all beings so yet impermanent be as joyfully enlightened as a Buddha's mind. May all relationships of all beings resounding yet impermanent be as peacefully loving as a Buddha's speech. May all bodies of all beings sensual yet impermanent be as beautifully healthy as a real or imagined Buddha's form. Let us bring the circumstantial into the path of love, mindfulness, meditation, and the 3 marks of existence. Please chant with me. Each of us has experienced the stress of... let's try this real quick. I think it could be easier on the eyes if I added a bit of the old Space-A-Rooney. That should do it. Okay, let's try it again. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting all circumstantial needs met. How we want when we want it for as long as we want it at all. So we're going to take all these words and squeeze them down into 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. And allow me to remind you that this question is purely rhetorical. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that other circumstantial needs also be met. So we're using boon as a monosyllabic synonym for good fortune. There are multiple genocides going on right now in the world, even though our little corner of it might be very safe and serene. And so it can be useful with our heart to reach out to those people and vulnerably, respectfully wish them well. Observing the coming and going of circumstantial phenomena helps us to see that ever-changing one and all there is nothing permanent to grasp. We're using the noun lot as a monosyllabic synonym of circumstance. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever circumstantial phenomena we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. Now, let us bring whatever we spontaneously notice into the path of awareness and release, which is known by many names, including Satipassathi, Dzogchen, Dhyana, Sutra Mahamudra, Mahasandhi, Ati Yoga, and Trek shows slicing through the duality of dread and desire. Let's hit paste. Okay. So if you've just joined, welcome aboard. Here's the lowdown on the hoedown. What is the most efficient way to practice mindfulness? Simple. During our inhalation, silently, mentally, and passively, we could recite the demonstrative pronoun this, thus facilitating perception that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, random, and fleeting. Likewise, the most efficient way to practice meditation is during our exhalation, once again, to silently, mentally, and passively recite the one-syllable verb ease. What I like to do is meditate. And in terms of rounds, assuming a round is just one inhalation followed by one exhalation. So let's gather 12 rounds. We can do that on our right hand. During our inhalation, we can advance. Let me make sure that everything's copacetic. During our inhalation, we can advance the tip of our right thumb on the various creases of our fingers, beginning with the index finger. Please practice with me. So if we're going to sit and meditate for the better part of an hour, we're going to have to probably do more than one set of 12 rounds. So the easiest way to count 12 sets of 12 rounds for a total of 144 rounds is to count on our left hand, starting with our index finger, one set of 12 rounds, two sets of 12 rounds, third set of 12 rounds, and so forth and so on. But even that isn't sufficient. That'll only take us about to the 15-minute mark. So we can also count with the knuckles of our hand. So since this is our first collection of 12 sets of 12 rounds, we can take our left index finger and trace it along the back of our right index finger until we come to the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger. We can then rest our hands in our lap, making sure to touch the tip of the left index finger to the great knuckle of the right index finger. If this might seem overwhelming, that's okay. Try it for about once every 12 hours or so, and within a week or two, you will have mastered it. Let us bring the mental, or chitta, into the path of love, mindfulness meditation, and the three marks of existence. In Pali, the three marks of existence are known as tilakana. Let us begin by bringing the chitta into the path, chitta, mind, or mental, into the path of dukkha, stress, which is the first of three marks of reality. Together. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our mental needs met. How we want when we want for as long as we want, if at all. Now let us bring the chitta mental into the path of metta, love. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' mental needs also be met. Now let us bring the chitta mental into the path of anicca and permanence, the second mark of reality. Observing the coming and going of mental phenomena, help us to see that ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Fourthly, let us bring the chitta mental into the path of anatta, not self. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever mental phenomena we notice during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. So, what I'd like to do now is keep track of the fact that we're going to gather 8 more sets of 12 rounds. And to mark that, quite simply, by touching the tip of our left ring finger to our right ring finger, tracing it down until we come to the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, and allowing the two to rest gently in our lap. As with our right hand, we count 12 rounds. And on our left hand, we count 8 sets. we come now. Let us bring the Vedana interpersonal into the path of love, mindfulness, meditation, and the 3 marks of existence. Let us begin by bringing the Vedana interpersonal into the path of dukkha, stress. Please chant with me. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our interpersonal needs met. How we want, when we want, for as long as we want, if at all. So if you've just joined me, and they're gone. Okay, never mind. Now let us bring the Vedana interpersonal into the path of metta, loving kindness. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' interpersonal needs also be met. Now let us bring the experience of the Vedana interpersonal into the path of anicca, impermanence, which is the 2nd mark of reality. Observing the coming and going of interpersonal phenomena, help us to hear, however changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. At last, we're going to bring the Vedana interpersonal into the path of anatta, not self. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever interpersonal phenomena we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. Having come to the 3rd quarter of tonight's practice, what we can do is use our left ring finger to make contact with our right ring finger and find our way down to the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, and rest our hands in our lap in a manner that maintains contact between the tip of our left ring finger and the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger. Simultaneously, on our left hand, we could, beginning with our index finger, we could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sets of 12 rounds. Beginning always with our index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, this is ungainly. Play with it every 12 hours for about a week or so, and you'll get it down pat. It'll serve you well, I assure you, for it helps to manage the energy that is mentioned as the fourth enlightenment factor. Let's see, what are we doing? I'm going to tap button 9. That's the ticket. Having come to our final quarter of this evening's practice, let us bring the physical into the path of love, mindfulness, meditation, and the 3 marks of existence. Let us begin by bringing the kaya physical into the path of dukkha, stress, which is the first mark of reality. Please chant with me. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our physical needs met. How we want when we want for as long as we want, if at all. So we're going to take all these words and we're going to coalesce them into just 6 words, which we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation. We're using the word form as a synonym for body. Now let us bring the kaya physical into the path of metta, loving kindness, together. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' physical needs also be met. Now let us bring the kaya physical into the path of anicca, impermanence, the second mark of reality. I'm going to try to pronounce your name. Kranti. Good evening, Kranti. I hope you and your family are well. Please chant with me. Feeling the coming and going of physical phenomena, help us to feel that ever-changing one and all. There is nothing permanent to grasp. So now let us condense all those words into this rather concise rhetorical question. Now let us bring the kaya physical into the path of anatta, no self, which is of course the 3rd mark of reality. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever physical phenomena we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. Now let us bring whatever we spontaneously notice into the path of awareness and release. If you've just joined me, welcome aboard. The key to easy and effective mindfulness is simply to silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. A key to efficient and easy meditation is the silent mental and passive recitation of the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation. Since this is the fourth quarter of tonight's practice, we can keep track thusly. Using the little finger of our left hand, we can trace the back of our right finger, of our right hand, until that finger comes to rest upon the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger. We can rest our hands in our lap thusly, by maintaining gentle contact between the tip of our left little finger and the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger. Not only can we keep track of what quarter we're on, but we can gently invite the real or imagined subtle energy to gather in our lower abdomen. For remember, the third enlightenment factor is energy. Meanwhile, on our left hand, beginning with our index finger, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of the 12 rounds that we count on our right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is weird, I know. Give it a try, see what happens. Here's the thing, try it for at least a fortnight, playing with it every 12 hours, and then check in with yourself and notice your results. What am I looking for? I'm looking for button 9. Now let us seal this evening's practice with a bit of the old chanting. May also circumstance. So, by the way, these are not prayers, these are just words used to guide our intention. May all circumstances of all beings appearing yet impermanent be as safe and abundant as a real or imagined Buddha's land. May all minds of all beings clear yet impermanent be as joyfully enlightened as a Buddha's mind. May all relationships of all beings resounding yet impermanent be as peacefully loving as a Buddha's speech. May all bodies of all beings sensual yet impermanent be as beautifully healthy as a real or imagined Buddha's form. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.